You guys, it's time for another DIY. We are making mermaid tails. And it's not that hard. So, step one is go to Joann's Fabrics and go to the dance swimsuit material and pick out your favorite color. They have so many. There's every color of the rainbow there and rainbow colored. So we just made this pattern up ourselves, and so I'm going to show you. This is the cutout, and this one has been fitting Ambry, who's 3, almost 4, all the way up to like 7, 8-year-olds or like 7-year-olds. They're really stretchy, and of course I'm going to give you the measurements for what we've been doing to fit like the little girls, and obviously if you wanted to make a bigger one you would just maybe add an inch around the entire pattern for what I'm doing. Alright, so just kind of to help you out with your pattern, I'm just going to give you the basic shape and the measurements. This one's 3 feet 3 inches on the very
3 feet 2 inches.
Oh, okay. 38 inches on the shortest part. And this is just half of a fin, obviously, because I put it on the fold. So when I cut it out, it's symmetrical. And then to the longest point here, I guess we'll measure from like there down, is 43 inches. So 43 inches, and then we'll try to like just show you guys a little diagram. 38, 43, and then the width of the tail is a little over 10. It's like 10 1/4. And then at the top, it is 5 1/2 inches. So I'm gonna try to like do a little diagram and write it all out. And then right here at the skinniest part, it's like 3 3/4. So if you mark out those places and kind of connect the dots, you'll end up with this shape where it goes from there, a little skinnier, flares out, and you should be able to pick out the points for the tail also. All right, so I cut that out and then lay it out onto the fabric, and you're just gonna, and what I do is, since I don't know the height yet, I usually just do the full length of the fabric, and you can kind of just eyeball this, since I didn't have a long enough cardboard. And we're tracing it all the way down and then back up. So that is, you'll need 2 of these. So you can double up your fabric if you want. I've just been cutting them out separate because I wanted to kind of save some extra fabric and didn't want to have it moving around since it's kind of slippery. But I bet you could do it where you could cut 4 at a time because they're not very thick. So for each little girl's mermaid tail, I needed a yard, but I bought a yard and 1/4 because I wanted to make little like swim shoes, like boy shorts for the bottoms and like a little tankini top. So I wanted extra fabric, but 1 yard will do it. And if you go to Joann's, you can match Hobby Lobby coupons. They take competitors' coupons, and they also have 50% off coupons sometimes. These were $16.99 a yard. So I had a 40% off coupon, making it, I don't know, what is that, like, it's like $8.50 a yard or something like that. So about $9 for the fabric. And then this is the other fabric I found for the tail. You're standing on it. It's just, we vlogged that. And I will show you how to cut out the fin, because the fin is a little bit higher on the arch than the actual tail. You can see here. See how the fabric will go a little bit longer than the fin, and that's because we want it to flap over and make sure it covers it. So I'll show you how I made this pattern, because this is a separate pattern for the insert for the fin part. Okay, so I'm just going along and placing pins every so often. This is a little bit thinner material than the other ones I've done, so it's kind of curling on the edges. It's probably because of the metallic rainbow. Very cute, but a little bit harder to work with. And so I'm just pinning it And this will help to make sure I'm keeping it in the right spot as I'm sewing too. And I'll just remove the pins as I sew. And I'm going to sew along with a 1/4 inch seam along all of it. And then I'm gonna go back and serge it also. But I have to borrow my friend's serger because I don't have one. So we found that wavy plastic, but then we asked them if they had any plexiglass, and they brought us to the window aisle in Home Depot, and they have all these plexiglasses. If you were gonna just make one, it's probably cheaper just to get this $10 sheet because my little cutout fit good on this sheet. So for 10 bucks, you could cut out the plastic for that, but I found this bigger piece because we need 5, so I'm gonna just get 2 pieces of the $25, $26 one. And then that should give us 6 tails. And Zayd said he wanted a merman tail, so we will need 6 anyway. And hopefully it works. We're gonna figure it out when we get home, but let's go. Okay, so we are at Joann's. I'm grabbing some more blue for Zayd so he can have his merman tail. And then we went to the clearance aisle because one of the employees, we showed them some of like the plastic that we're trying to cover, and we said we needed some kind of a stretchy material. And he suggested this vinyl. And so it's like plastic on both sides, but it stretches pretty well. Pull that other side for me, Davey. Like it has some stretch. Well, maybe it's this way. Is it stretchy? Yeah, it's a little bit stretchy. You can see. And I think that'll be good because the plastic will be in this and it will kind of just hold their feet really tight and snug in there. And hopefully that's good. And I guess I could even do it inside out so that this is against the plastic so it's black. So I liked that this one had the black side. It will look all professional. I think this is the one. Okay, and it's $8 a yard. It's on sale. And I think 1 yard could make 2 or 3 of the tail coverings. So Dave's gonna try to do
Try the jigsaw.
the jigsaw with the plexiglass. Let's see if it works.
Should I do a test spot first?
Yeah, I'm gonna stand back because I have ender. Yeah, I think it works. I think that'll do it.
Seems to be working.
Sweet. How to cut out the plastic. So we just made a cardboard cutout of like the, okay, what am I trying to say here? We made a cardboard pattern. Okay, so there's the cutout. You just trace it on. And then we use a jigsaw right here.
That's what it's called? I believe it's a jigsaw.
I think so. Anyway, like I'll show you the blade. Daisy, you're making this hard. That's the blade, and then we clamped it onto the table and just kind of exposed one side at a time, and he is just sawing it out, and it seems to be working fine. So that's how we're doing the plexiglass for the insert on the tail.
Alright, so some quick advice on the cutting of the mermaid tails of the plexiglass. And if you know tools or cutting glass, you probably know this already. But I found it best to keep the edges as close as you can to the table. If I ever clamped it out and it was coming out here really far, it would start to shake, and sometimes it would even start to crack the glass. So you want to take your time, keep the edges really close to the table, then turn it, then clamp it this way. Only have just the least amount hanging off as you can. That way it's going to stay nice and sturdy against the table, and it won't crack the plexiglass. Because once you crack, you can't go back.
Okay, so after you cut out the mermaid tail, you just need to line good sides together, and I found that just sewing it is not okay with this stretchy swimsuit fabric. You have to serge it, and I didn't have a serger, so I went to my neighbor's house because she's amazing and she does slip covers, and I kind of figured she'd have to have a serger. So, but you line it up and just serge all the way around, except for you leave the very bottom, like the fishy tail part. You leave that open, except for I bring it in like 3 inches, and so I'm going to sew 3 inches all the way around and up the other side, and then 3 inches and all the way up around the other side. So just, well, serge with the serger. Is it coming out? Yeah, it's working. All right, so once you have serged, I'm going to show you the opening here. you leave an opening. So you just serge a little bit there and then all the way up and down on both sides, or up on both sides, and then obviously you're gonna leave the top open. And this is way too long because I don't have the girls here to try it on, but when I figure out the length, I'll just cut it. And you can either just serge around the top if it's tight enough, but I'm gonna stick some elastics in there and leave it a little bit too long, and so they can roll it down, and then as they grow, maybe they can let it get longer with them. So now we just need to work on the insert. Okay. So once you get your plexiglass cut out, we showed you how to do that. Then you're gonna lay it on top of your vinyl and then just trace. I just kind of held the pen out or the marker out, and I did it on the light side, not the black side. So I'll kind of show you what it looks like here. There we go, that's better. Because this is easier to write on with a Sharpie. So I just went like this on the pattern. And then I took my Sharpie and I kind of just angled it out so that it kind of stayed 1/4 of an inch around. So there we go. That's better. So this is going to encase my mermaid tail. So the next step you need to do once you get everything cut out is you need to pick one of these and draw a little ankle sized hole on one side. And then I'm going to fold it in half here. And I'm going to use some scissors and just cut that out so that it cuts a hole on both sides. And I'm not being a perfectionist with this, I'm just getting it done. This thing is not going to be seen as long as you don't completely destroy it. If it's put together, it's good enough. It just needs to hold their little feet in there tight against the board so that they can kick without it slipping around. So, well, that was a quick flip. So now I got my little holes cut. Looks like a little ghost. And we just need a couple cuffs for the feet. And they need to be the size to fit around that hole. So if you want to, you can measure it by just kind of placing the fabric around to see about how long you need it. I'm gonna guess here and just go about there and then just check it by folding it around. And it is stretchy, obviously, so a little bit tighter is probably better. And you want it big enough to where when you fold it over like this, so that when you fold it over like this, it's about 2 inches wide. So make sure that you cut 2 of these the same size. So you have this longer strip, you're gonna fold it in half this way, and then just serge down the one side. So now we have our 2 little cuffs and we're gonna have to sew them onto this, and this is like the hardest part. So just bear with me, I'm gonna try to do my best. I'm gonna serge them on there. This as the good side together though, because then when I flip this out, then it's gonna have something smooth protecting the skin. This isn't visible, so it doesn't need to look pretty, it just needs to be comfortable. So I'm gonna sew it this way. And I'm just gonna kind of start in a easier spot. The fabric that you don't want to cut out of the way, and make sure it doesn't get cut because the serger will just snip off anything that gets in there. Line up the first spot, and you can cut off a little bit of your fabric because it's okay if this hole gets a teeny bit bigger because it's not very stretchy with the vinyl. If you can find stretchier fabric for the outer shell of the fin, then do it, but I couldn't, so. Okay, so I sewed both of them on. This was a pain. This is the only really hard part that gives me anxiety. Of course, you're gonna wanna clip all your threads here. Okay, and there is no exact science to this either. It's just, it needs to be a piece that fits around the back that goes from about there to there, kind of the ends of the little foot. And this is just gonna give them some more room for their feet to not be squished really tight against the plastic. And I'm just gonna do bad sides together. So the good sides are out, the black's out, and I'm just gonna serge it around the edge on this piece. the other black piece, and we're gonna sew this little flap onto it as if it was the back part of this. So it's gonna sew together like that and have this little like 1/2 inch gap. And on this one, you need to be really careful to make sure they stay lined up, but you're only gonna serge a little teeny bit because it's hard to get the plexiglass in, so maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches. But I'll go around the whole thing first. Yeah, just a little bit on those ends. And that's just gonna hold in the plexiglass. So then the last step, you're just gonna stick one corner into the mermaid tail, and then this part you just kind of have to squish. Be careful not to rip the seam you just made with this glass. Kind of stretch it above it. And it should be a really tight fit. And then you have the little girls put their feet into the mermaid tail and poke them out the bottom, and then you'll stick their feet in these little pockets, and then you just slip the mermaid tail in to the mermaid shell, and it will all come together like this, and then you have your mermaid tail. Easy peasy. Do it yourself. Okay, I'm gonna break this down and cost about how much these cost. For a sheet of the plastic, there was $8 a piece. If you got the bigger sheet, you could make 3, or $10 for the sheet of plastic if you just bought one. And then it was between $8 and $10 for fabric, depending on what coupon you have. If you get like a 40 or 50% off coupon, so you're at 18 with that. And I think the outer shell for this was, it was $8 yard, and I could get 2 out of each yard. So $4 for this. So you're at a total of $22 for a mermaid tail instead of 150 whatever, 170. And I decided with the older girls, since these are so long, because I used the full length of the material, they go all the way up. So you got like the tail down there, and then this goes like all the way up to their chest. So I was gonna just serge this off and put some straps on it, and they could just have it as a full mermaid suit, or you can cut it off and then just use the top part as like a tankini for the little girls. That's my idea, and I hope that you guys try it because it was really fun. And we could not, there's no way we could have afforded to buy mermaids tails for 5 girls at $130 a piece. So this was our solve all problem. Just took me 2 days to do it. But if you guys planned ahead and got all the things on the supply list, the plastic, the outer shell, the spandex, and if you have a serger and that jigsaw, I think that you'd be good. So good luck, guys. Thanks for watching. See ya.
Okay, Ambry, how do you like the mermaid?
Good.
Are you a real life mermaid? Put your fin down. How do you do that? Oh my goodness. We gotta find you some water. Are you gonna survive without the water? You love it? Oh my goodness. Are you a real life mermaid?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay.